Welcome to the World Rally Championship. We're going to take you on an unforgettable journey through 4 seasons in 14 countries and 4 continents. That's the arena for the fastest, toughest, roughest, most perilous clash of man and machine against the elements. Each rally is 3 days of hard driving, where skill, stamina and strength are key to surviving the most hostile environments on Earth. To survive, you've got to be good. And these guys are great. They're the toughest drivers on the planet, guiding their $500,000 machines through the Earth's great wildernesses in all weathers, on all surfaces. They adapt to the harshest environments to battle against each other for the coveted title of World Rally Champion. It's edge-of-your-seat stuff. All you have to do is sit back and let your senses be assaulted. This is the World Rally Championship 2002. And it all begins in winter in Monte Carlo. Here, the glamour of the Principality gives way to fierce frozen mountains where the action takes place. But it's not as cold as Sweden, where temperatures fall as low as -30 and speeds climb to 200 kilometers an hour plus. Spring brings Corsica. They call this one the Rally of 10,000 Corners. Spain is a fast and flowing asphalt event where sparks go flying when corners are cut. Cyprus is a gravel rally, but for gravel read razor-sharp rocks. This one's a car wrecker. The Argentine Andes host South America's rally. It's like nowhere else on Earth. Summer starts with the Acropolis rally, a melting pot of problems. Heat, rough surfaces, rocky terrain and dust are just some of the hazards. The African wilderness is the setting for one of motorsport's last great adventures. The safari is as famous as it's tough. Don't be fooled by the tranquility of Finland's forests. Here there's a high-octane adrenaline rush of a rally, and it's one of the greatest shows on Earth. 3 days, 3 different rallies. That's what they say about the WRC's newest event, Germany. Italy's a breathtaking sprint through tight hairpins on a surface that's so slippery only the fittest survive. New Zealand hosts one of the greatest gravel tests of the championship. Its almost perfect surface makes it a driver's favourite. Australia's another, gravel on the road, trees at its side. This is a potent cocktail of speed and danger. Autumn brings the championship climax in some of the greatest forest stages in the world. Here in Wales, the action is invariably as dramatic as the scenery. A rally is like no other sport on Earth. Drivers don't race against each other, they race against the clock on roads called stages. The stages can be smooth asphalt, gravel-covered forest tracks, rocky mountain passes, or snow. A WRC car might look like the one you'd see on the forecourt, but one of these will set you back a cool $500,000. That buys you a four-wheel drive, 2-litre, turbocharged monster that cruises at speeds of up to 200 kilometres an hour. To handle one, you need to be among the best drivers in the world. Their mix of talent and skill is helped by the co-driver sat at their side reading the pace notes. These are a very detailed description of the road ahead, and they let the driver know when to slow down and when to push. The real battle takes place on the stages. For the rally, these sections of road are closed so a driver can go flat out. The cars are timed to within 1/10 of a second. It's a punishing test of talent and instinct where the crews have to tackle literally anything. There could be hairpins, blind crests, slippery surfaces and deep drops off a mountainside. To be a player in the World Rally Championship, you need to be bold because the slightest error can be severely punished. But not all damage is incurable. Between certain stages, there is a service where the mechanics have just 20 minutes to repair the cars and get them back into the rally. If they go over the limit, there's a time penalty, and that's not good because every fraction of a second counts. After 3 days of grueling competition, the stage times are added up and the driver with the fastest time is declared the winner. This is Wales in November 2001. And this is Richard Burns celebrating winning the world title. Then he was driving for Subaru. In 2002, the world #1 has switched to Peugeot, where he joins Marcus Gronholm, Harry Rovanperä, and the asphalt ace, Gilles Panizzi. Driving for Subaru in 2002, a 4 times world champion Tommi Mäkinen, who joins the charismatic Norwegian Petter Solberg. Ford have 2 of the biggest names in rallying behind the wheel of their Focuses. Colin McRae and Carlos Sainz lead their attack, with the Estonian Marco Martin joining the team to drive the 3rd car.
Interesting new toy.
Mitsubishi have 2 new drivers, Alistair McRae, younger brother of Colin, partners Francois Delacour, who's joined from Ford. Hyundai have a superstar too. Juha Kankkunen is a rally legend, and he partners Freddie Loix and Armin Schwartz. Driving the Skoda Octavias are Tony Gardemeister and Kenneth Eriksson. And finally Citroën. They're not taking part in all 14 rallies, but you'll be seeing a lot of Sebastian Loeb and Thomas Radstrom. Monte Carlo is the oldest and most prestigious round of the WRC. First run in 1911, its mixture of dry surfaces giving way to ice and snow has made it one of the most demanding challenges, and it's an event everyone wants to win. The balmy weather of Monte Carlo's Riviera coastline is a stark contrast to the severe winter that takes hold in the Alps. This is where the 3 days of action take place. This is Richard Burns' first outing as world champion and first event in his new car, the Peugeot 206. And this is stage 1 of the rally. And the defending champion was lucky to escape.
I made a mistake about halfway through. I came over a crest, and when the car landed, I was too far on the inside of the road, and it sort of jumped off the other side of the road and into a field. So we lost about 10 or 15 seconds.
Marcus Gronholm was the 2000 world champion. He made no secret of the fact that he wants the title back. But asphalt isn't his favourite surface. He was beating Burns, but not in contention for a maximum 10 points. Although Colin McRae's never won the Monty, he's been very close in the past. The Scot knows better than anyone that this can be a cruel and unforgiving place. Engine trouble took him out of the running, but he was still thrilling the crowds. Perhaps not in the way he'd like to, though. McRae's Ford teammate Carlos Sainz has won here before, but even the most experienced drivers can fall foul of the slippery surfaces.
Para derecha acá en cuarta, desviar a poco, abrirse. ¡Su padre!
Still, the man they call El Matador would get a podium place at the end of the rally. This is Peter Solberg approaching the same spot where Carlos Sainz had his spin.
I think I had too much information in my pace notes, so I couldn't get everything into my head, and it was too much gravel there. And then I just came out of line, and I'm lucky to be here, so we try again.
A collision with the rocket ended Armin Schwartz's first outing in a Hyundai, leaving teammate Freddie Loix to lead their charge. It just shows how strong and safe WRC cars are. Freddie's only injury from this huge smash, a broken foot. From the inside of Roman Cresta's car, this knock looks pretty innocent. But from the outside, it's clear this has to be one of the greatest escapes of all time. Keeping well away from the mayhem, Sebastian Loeb's driving was faultless. He's one of the youngest and brightest stars of the WRC and came out in his Citroën determined to take his first victory. But that's not easy when 3-time Monty winner Tommi Mäkinen is on your tail. Loeb couldn't afford to let his nerves get the better of him. With just half a minute between them, one small mistake could mean Mäkinen will pounce. And after all, the Finn was on for a record 4th Monty win in a row.
If everything works like it should be, I'm sure it is one of the best day in my life.
On the final day, there was alarming news for Loeb. An illegal tyre change meant he was threatened with a hefty time penalty, but he was still determined to go fastest.
If I can win the rally, I will make it, and for me, I will have win it. After that, they make what they want.
Loeb charged into the stages not knowing whether the penalty would be imposed. His nerves must have been on edge as his engine cut out on this corner. There was no doubt in Tommi Mäkinen's mind as to who had won. Loeb approached the end of the rally knowing he'd been the fastest over the 3 days, so he celebrated too. However, the penalty was imposed and the win given to Tommi Mäkinen, his 4th Monte Carlo victory in a row. And a maximum 10 points to kick off his season. A good start too for the Ford pairing of Sainz and McRae, but no points for defending champion Richard Burns. And Subaru take an early lead in the manufacturers' battle. Note there's no points for Citroën. They're not taking part in the full season, so they're not eligible for points. This is frozen February in Sweden. Here temperatures can plummet as low as -30, coating the forest in snow and ice and making a perfect arena for a very fast event. In fact, this is the fastest rally in the whole championship and the drivers love it. Based around the city of Karlstad to the west of Sweden's capital, Stockholm, there's 3 days of full-on, flat-out driving in the frozen forests. Championship leader Tommi Mäkinen was the first out onto the roads and first to get into trouble. This brush with a snowbank was all it took to end the Finn's rally. His air intake was blocked and his engine overheated. Next out, Sebastian Loeb. He soon learned how tough this rally is. This collision with a bank cost him a lot of precious time. But not as much as teammate Thomas Radström lost when his Citroën Zara nosedived off the road. All very embarrassing for the local hero. Colin McRae is one of rallying's natural talents, and when trouble looms for the Scot, he makes it look very easy to escape. He was chasing the silver bullets of Harry Rovanperä and Marcus Gronholm. Rovanperä is an expert on this icy surface, and he was going fast, very fast. But they couldn't catch Marcus Gronholm. Gronholm's so cool they call him the Iceman, and here he reigns supreme. Colin McRae was all too aware that catching the fin was next to impossible.
It was a good start. We had no real problems. Just unfortunate the gap between ourselves and the Peugeots is 40 seconds.
Rising temperatures meant snow wouldn't be so much of a problem on the second day. But that didn't help Petter Solberg. Thousands of his fans had travelled from his home in Norway to cheer him on, but they didn't bring him any good luck.
Black crest, 200. Oh, is there anything you can do just to back it off? Or?
Just jump out there and look.
Negative up the snowbank.
That's his engine failing, and Petter retiring. Richard Burns was nowhere near as fast as his Peugeot teammates, and spins didn't help him either. The world champion might not have enjoyed this one, but the crowd certainly did. And there were still no worries for the leading pair. Harry Rottenperra and Marcus Gronholm still way out in front. By day 3, the thaw was complete. Alistair McRae was going faster than his brother Colin and loving it. But Colin wasn't happy. Not wanting to be beaten by his younger brother, he was pushing hard. Perhaps a little too hard. Alistair would win this one. Richard Burns was in 4th place, behind Carlos Sainz. The Spaniard finished 3rd in Monte Carlo and finished 3rd here too. It's little wonder they call him Mr. Consistency. Peugeot bring in Harry Rottenperra when they need a gravel expert, and this is why. A faultless run brought him home in 2nd place behind Marcus Gronholm. That's maximum points for the French team. And that's maximum points for Marcus. Just look at how much faster he was than the others. His charge for the title has started.
It's a good start for the season, and now we continue with 2 asphalt rallies, and I hope I can take some points also there and progress on tarmac.
So it's all changed at the top of the leaderboard. Marcus takes the lead from Tommy Mäkinen, and maximum points from the 2 Peugeots gives the French team the lead in the manufacturers' battle. This is what they mean by asphalt or tarmac. A normal road to you and me, but to these guys it means a totally different style of driving. It's so specialised, some teams bring in experts just for these rallies.
On tarmac it's very, very aggressive, and you have to push all the time to be concentrate on the line, you know, to preserve as well the tyre, and you cannot slide so much with the car.
To get a good flow around a blind corner where you might be doing 60, 70 miles an hour, but you could only see perhaps 10 metres in front of you because of the cliff face, then that's the trick really, to know when you can put the power on exiting the corner.
You just have to listen to the pace notes so carefully so that you get the right line into the next one, because you don't see the second corner.
Fast right plus in long, 40 easy right down, maybe 30, Caleb plus long.
The concentration is the main thing as a co-driver, and shutting out all the things that are going on around about you, so when you do get caught you can still just concentrate on reading the notes and being calm, and you know, doing the best job you can so the driver has the best chance.
With the French Riviera to the north, Sardinia to the south, and Italy lying just to the east, Corsica is an infusion of Mediterranean cultures. Famous as the birthplace of Napoleon Bonaparte, tourists also come to enjoy the breathtaking peaks of the mountains above Ajaccio. Snaking along the edge of these mountains are the infamous roads that make up one of the toughest, harshest and most perilous rounds of the WRC, the Rallye de France. Most of the stars of the WRC learn their trade on forest stages. Although they're fast on these asphalt roads, they're not as fast as drivers who grow up on them. Drivers like Gilles Panizzi. Marcus Gronholm's not an asphalt expert and accepted that his chances of winning on this surface were slim. But big points were necessary for his title chances, and he drove out of his skin to get them. Also in a Peugeot, Richard Burns. He's got to get on equal terms with Gronholm if he's to keep hold of his world title. It looked as though Petter Solberg's luck might be changing. He was going faster than Burns and chasing Gronholm and Panizzi. But that was the end of Petter's challenge. Those few precious seconds were enough to drop him 3 places. It was hard work in the Skoda Octavia too, the abrasive roads taking their toll on the driver and the car.
Super 1 for Tina. We are clear of stage. Our tires are...
Filip Bugalski is Citroen's asphalt expert, and he was here to spearhead their challenge. A consistent drive and no errors meant he was destined to finish 4th. But there was no doubt who was going fastest. Panizzi was simply stunning. 3 Peugeots leading the rally meant it was a confident air in the Peugeot camp.
The feeling with the car is perfect, and the car is very competitive, and I'm very happy for that.
Tommy Mäkinen ran into trouble when he ran into the rain. His Subaru aquaplaned off the road, hitting a rock with enough force to damage his suspension. Retirement number 2 for the Finn. Colin McRae's been a victim of Corsica's perilous roads in the past. One of the worst accidents of his career came here. Another smash in 2002.
Okay. It was after the car stopped I realised it was quite a severe impact, because the roll cage was in against my leg, so the biggest worry was just to get out of the car and make sure everything was okay. But it split the small finger wide open and burst the tendons and broken the bones as well, so it's not so good.
There was relief all round when the news came through that McRae was okay.
You're going into the last stage now soon, so what is your expectation?
I understand.
Once again, it was Carlos Sainz who was the best of the Fords. He finished 6th. But it was Peugeot who was stealing the headlines. Burns was 3rd. Gronholm was 2nd. And Gilles Panizzi was just about to win in Corsica. All 3 Peugeots on the podium. That is history being made. And this is why Peugeot bring in their expert. 40 seconds faster than Marcus Gronholm. That's an amazing win for Panizzi. Filip Bugalski was the best of the rest.
Gilles, 8 stage wins on your home event. It's been a great rally for you.
Yes, fantastic, and happy, very happy. And I think it was not easy to win, but confident beginning to the end. And all the team are very confident for this result.
So Panizzi pops up on the leaderboard in the drivers' title race, but thanks to his 2nd place in Corsica, Gronholm now leads. And just look at Peugeot's lead in the manufacturers' standings. They're going to be hard to beat. Just 2 weeks later, and another grueling asphalt event in Spain. Noisy, passionate and packed like sardines along the roadsides, rally fans in Spain are a phenomenon. Nobody loves this sport more than the Spaniards. They swarm in their hundreds of thousands to the stages, flying flags, wearing hats and T-shirts proclaiming their love for their hero, Carlos Sainz. Based in the seaside resort of Lloret de Mar, the rally heads to the inland peaks, where for 3 punishing days, the drivers tackle 18 merciless stages. Known at home as El Matador, Carlos Sainz rules. Without him, there might not be a WRC Rally Catalunya. Without him, Europe might have been robbed of one of the greatest events it has to offer. But it was bad news for the thousands of fans. A pre-rally crash had left Carlos injured and without the services of his regular co-driver Luis Moya. And he was replaced by Marc Marti. Colin McRae's finger was still healing from that bad smash in Corsica. There were rumours flying around that if it troubled the Scot, he might consider having it chopped off.
I think that's a last resort. I quite like it where it is. We'll try and keep it.
And keep it, he did. At times, Petter Solberg was on the pace of the Peugeots, setting 2 fastest stage times, but problems with the car meant he finished down in 5th. Still, that means points, and Tommy Mäkinen needs some of those just now. A visit to a ditch left him with overheating problems again. Don't let anyone tell you rally drivers aren't resourceful. Tommy made it back to service, but all the work was in vain. Retirement was inevitable. Once again, the Finn returned home empty-handed. Prize for the most bizarre picture of the rally goes to Skoda's Tony Gardemeister. Carlos Sainz was pleasing his fans, but they weren't pleasing him. Storming through the stage, he comes across 2 parked cars close to the side of the road.
John, we have gone off the road, place full of cars. Where we have cut, we found a car in the inside and a car in the outside of the bend, and I just couldn't control the car. Sorry, but
Pace notes are so important for the rally drivers, and it's essential they listen very carefully to everything that's said.
how can you be so stupid? I took you 2 times, huh? Okay, it's not too bad.
Sebastian Loeb must have been hoping he could repeat the flawless drive that brought him so close to victory in Monte Carlo. Not this time. The roll caused so much damage he simply couldn't go on. It's not often that Marcus Gronholm is the slowest of the Peugeots, but in Spain he was. He was down in 4th and separated from his teammates by Filip Bugalski's Citroën. That was good news for Richard Burns. He was flying, setting 2 fastest stage times and lying comfortably in 2nd. But there's no prizes for guessing who the winner was here. Gilles Panizzi dominated again, thrilling the crowds in the process. But perhaps he should have warned his co-driving brother Hervé first. Another great drive from the Asphalt Aces. Panizzi finished over half a minute ahead of Burns, but the Englishman will be pleased he got the better of Gronholm. So 2 asphalt rallies, 2 commanding wins. Gilles Panizzi really is something else on this surface. Those 2 wins also put Panizzi just behind Gronholm at the top of the standings, but the championship heads back to gravel, so it's goodbye to Panizzi for a while. But look at the job he's done for Peugeot. Just 4 rallies gone, and he's helped them build a comfortable lead. But before we say goodbye to Gilles Panizzi, let's find out a little bit more about him.
Driving, it's my life. It's a big passion, and I am obsessed to brake late and go fast in every corner. When the road is fast and the corner is... It's exciting. The car must be easy to drive. If you fight with the car, it's no good. You can win. Taxi driver, like that. Shock absorber, it's up because it's important to absorb the
Rally Cyprus is a relative newcomer to the World Rally Championship, but it has quickly established itself as a favourite for both drivers and fans. Based around Limassol, the Cyprus Rally zigzags through the Troodos Mountains. The gravel surface is strewn with sharp rocks that threaten to shred tyres and blast suspensions. And guess who loves conditions like that? Marcus Gronholm. But so does Richard Burns. And Colin McRae. And Tommy Mäkinen. Prepare yourself for an incident-packed fight between the big boys. Gilles Panizzi's in Cyprus trying to get some experience on the gravel surface. This is what you call learning the hard way. Alistair McRae probably wished the cameras hadn't caught this roll. Harry Rovanperä went over too. There's something about this rally that's catching these guys out.
It's damp on the surface and there's a lot of grip, but the cars are set up for the rough stages, which means they're quite high. They have a lot of suspension travel, and I think that's why you have a lot of grip, plus they're high, and I think it's very easy to come into a corner, hit a bit of a bump and fall.
Petter Solberg was upright, but all was not well with the car. He had hydraulic problems, and time lost with this spin didn't help either. This was yet another rally where Petter could have been in the fight for the front if he hadn't been dogged with problems, and the frustration was clear to see. Colin McRae felt so sorry for the Norwegian he went to offer some words of comfort.
Petter, you're looking really disappointed. What happened this morning?
Everything. I'm working so hard every time, and it's always something is happening. And
there were no worries for McRae. The Ford Focus is notoriously strong and thrives in these conditions. He was leading. But Marcus was chasing. The gap between them after 2 days hard driving was a mere 26 seconds. Gronholm returned to service, playing down his chances of snatching the win from McRae.
It's maybe a little bit too much, but let's see. Everything is possible.
He may have said it was too much, but he didn't drive like that. He charged into day 3. At the end of the morning's first stage, he'd cut McRae's lead by half. Just 13 seconds was between them. McRae's been world champion once, but that was back in 1995. He knows these rough rallies are his best chance of getting the title back. Determined to keep Gronholm at bay, he pushed, hoping to extend his lead.
Okay, we cleared the stage. Unfortunately, we rolled in there. We've lost the power steering. Other than that, it's not driving too badly.
The roll cost him the lead. He was now 5 seconds behind the Finn. It's times like these that the boys back in service really earn their money. All they needed to do was get the car fixed and ready for the road in just 20 minutes, and they did it. McRae was back out, knowing if he continued to push, he could take back the lead. But then he rolled again.
Colin, you're still in the rally.
Yeah, we're still in, but I think we dropped about 2 minutes. Yeah, we've got no wipers, that's the problem, so hope the rain stays off.
No wipers looked like the least of McRae's worries, but at least the wheels were pointing in the right direction. With the lead handed over to Gronholm, there was a big fight going on for second place. Richard Burns was just over a second behind Tommy Mäkinen. The Finn desperately needed to score big points to keep his hopes alive, and he was pushing hard to stay ahead of the Peugeot. Burns flew through the last stage and made it safely to the end of the rally.
Richard finished the stage.
All Mäkinen had to do to secure second was keep up with Burns' pace. But a spin on the last corner of the rally meant second place was lost to Burns. But the relief to have finished was obvious to see. So after 3 full-on days of thrills and spills, it ended like this. Colin McRae on the leaderboard, but not at the top of it. He handed the victory to Marcus Gronholm. And the Finn extends his lead in the World Championship title race. With Peugeot way out in front in the manufacturer's title race, the big fight's between Subaru and Ford for second. The only WRC event to take place in the continent of South America, Rally Argentina is a high-altitude challenge. Up here, engine power sapped. The soft surfaces break up, littering the stages with rocks. But the best feature of all are the countless water splashes. Northwest of Buenos Aires, Argentina's capital, is the town of Cordoba, the rally's centre. But most of the action takes place in the dramatic landscapes of the Sierra Grande Mountains. Catch me if you can is the message coming from Marcus Gronholm to his closest rivals, teammate Richard Burns, Colin McRae, who handed victory over to Gronholm in Cyprus, Carlos Sainz, Tommy Mäkinen, and Petter Solberg. And they're going to try. Argentines are rally mad and turn up in their thousands to catch a glimpse of the action. They were to be richly rewarded. This was going to be one of the most action-packed rallies of 2002. Gronholm laid down the challenge on the first stage, setting the fastest time. Through one of the very first water splashes, Richard Burns gets water in his engine. And from the clock, it's clear to see he was losing time.
Close it through that.
Yeah, I close it through everyone.
Last year, Argentina kick-started a great winning streak for Colin McRae, but history wasn't destined to repeat itself. The spin cost him so much time, he slipped down to 12th. There's no doubt that Petter Solberg's going to win a WRC event, but his bad luck is making it a frustratingly long wait. But no problems on the opening day meant he was in there, fighting for a podium place with Carlos Sainz. Things were looking up for Tommy Mäkinen. He was fighting for victory. This is Juha Kankkunen, 4 times world champion and rally legend. He was in 7th place when he went off into a ditch. And he was stuck fast. Teammate Freddie Loix passes his stricken teammate. He'd impressed everyone with the fastest stage time at the end of the first day. At the start of the second day, everything was set for a great battle between 2 Finns. It's not often Gronholm's car lets him down, but on the morning's first stage, he had hydraulic problems. Mäkinen pounced, driving with a determination that brought him 4 world titles, steadily shaving seconds off Gronholm. By the end of the day, Mäkinen snatched the lead by a whisker. Just half a second separated them. Sitting comfortably behind them was Richard Burns in 3rd. Peugeot's fighting for the podium is becoming a familiar story, and team boss Corrado Provero doesn't mind that one bit. This was it, the big fight for first. Gronholm was first away, trying to catch Mäkinen and retake that lead. And he did. Just 3 stages to go, and Mäkinen was going to have to give it everything he'd got. The pictures from Petter Solberg's car are never dull. More than anyone, he seems prone to problems that are just downright bizarre. That silence is the intercom between him and co-driver Phil Mills breaking down. That was especially bad as Carlos Sainz was bearing down on Petter's 4th place. Now this is what maximum attack looks like. Mäkinen going flat out. Victory here would be fantastic for his title chances.
Off in last corner, the stage number 21. We are okay, we are okay. Car is badly damaged. Last corner.
That was one of the biggest smashes of Mäkkinen's career, and it was totally unnecessary because this rally was about to take another twist. Marcus Gronholm had had trouble starting his car in the morning. He consulted his engineers, and that was deemed illegal. After 3 days of hard fighting, the Finn came back to muted celebrations. To be told, he was disqualified. As was Richard Burns for another technicality. Handing the win over to Carlos Sainz, the 24th of his career. Only Tommi Mäkinen has won as many rallies. Marcus Gronholm is still our championship leader, but the 10 points for Sainz bring him up to third. So no points for the Peugeots here, but a great drive from Tony Gardemeister brings him and Skoda their first points of the season. Martin Wilkinson has one of the most challenging jobs in rally. He's the man in charge of all the work done in each service on Colin McRae's car.
We get on quite well together. I think you need to be able to trust each other, so that he can trust that if he wants me to do something, then it's going to be done properly. It all starts months before each rally. We always work another rally ahead of ourselves, organising the parts to come in the trucks, whatever components we might need. If it's going to be a rough rally and you expect a lot of damage to the cars, then you just have to make sure that the parts that you expect to damage or know you could damage, that you've got sufficient for them. We've normally got 5 or 6 people specifically working on each car, and there's basically one guy in each corner of the car where the wheels are. There's one guy in the engine bay and there's another guy, which we call a floater, who works generally everywhere on the car if there's a problem there.
It's a high-pressure job. With just 20 minutes to get the car fixed and back into competition, not a second can be wasted. It needs to be coordinated with military precision.
Right, just relax, you've got a load of time left now. It's okay. You've got plenty of time, 11 minutes. Your link's on the bottom of the drive shaft there. Right, don't snap the bolt. Clear? 4 minutes, boys. Right, come out as soon as you're ready, boys. Want the wheels on. Yeah, it does get a bit hectic. It's just because it's such a short time from finding out what you have to do to actually doing it. We're just a bit trying to organise everything, but no, it was okay. It went well.
Service is a very important part of the next round of the World Championship. Rally Greece hit the scene in the 1950s and immediately earned a reputation as a car breaker. Thanks to a ceremonial start under the world-famous Parthenon, this rally's better known as the Acropolis. From the Greek capital, it continues up the coast and into the mountains based near the town of Itea. No one wants to be first out on the gravel roads. That makes you the sweeper, clearing a line for the cars behind. It was very bad news for Marcus Gronholm. He was down in 10th. A win for Carlos Sainz here would give him a record number of 25 victories and put him into the thick of the title race. Colin McRae's record on the Acropolis is second to none. He was the favourite to win it, if he could stay in the road. When you see Petter Solberg, you know that he's either going to be very fast or something weird's about to happen.
30. Right minus tight, just keep in. 30. Get the through! For the steering? Yeah. It's in the back. Okay, see what I can do.
Fixing your steering and still driving. It's all part of the WRC.
It's completely tight. Okay.
All was not well in Tommi Mäkinen's car either. On these very rough stages, you really need the power steering, and Mäkinen's was broken. He fought with the car for over 20 kilometres. Perhaps the strain was just too much. And Mäkinen retired. Benefiting from the road sweeping of his more experienced colleagues was Marco Martin. This promising young star was leading the rally. It all started very well for the Hyundais too. Freddie Loix was second, and Armin Schwartz was on his way to scoring manufacturers' points. But Juha Kankinen was forced to retire with an electrical problem, and it was bad news too for Freddie. Urgent repairs in service overran. He picked up a time penalty and dropped out of the podium places. That meant that it was now Colin McRae who was chasing his teammate Marco Martin. On board with Martin. Listen carefully. That's the sound of his shredded tyre. 3 minutes was lost trying to change the wheel. Martin's anguish, all too painful to witness.
No, basically we got the puncture just like that, without hitting anything, and just it was so bad that we had to stop and change it, because otherwise we would have broken the suspension or something. So it's a long way to go. So lost many minutes, I think, because it's not so easy with that.
Martin might have saved his suspension, but Burns couldn't.
Yeah, there is suspension broken. We're driving, but we're driving very slowly, and I want to know if I should stop. It's quite hard to keep the car on the road. If I should stop, if I slow down Colin. The lower lateral arm is just snapped.
Okay, we have no spare in the car. Sorry about that. Thank you for all you have done so far.
Burns was out, and McRae could hardly believe his eyes. So the last thing he wanted was to go off. So close, but this time he saved it. Just look at the wheel arch. He'd knocked it onto the tyre, and emergency repairs were needed.
Shouldn't be too much of a problem now. We've sort of pushed the arch out of the arch out of the tyre, so we should be able to continue, no problem.
Second place Marcus Gronholm must have been wondering if McRae was about to hand him another win.
3 left tightens. Into 3 left plus tightens. And 6 right over crest 30, left tightens, and 3 plus.
Safely home. McRae's first win of the year.
Yo, dude. Wicked. That should be enough.
24 seconds the margin between first and second. In the final point-scoring position, Marco Martin. But Ford Champagne was reserved for McRae, and it was plain to see how good the victory was feeling.
You got that vital win, you must be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, it's great. It's something that we really needed at this point in the season for the championship, and hopefully there's going to be a few more.
What is it about you in this rally? That's 5 wins in 7 years now. It's terrific.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of these things. It's a rally we've got right. No real reason why, but it's just going our way.
So once again, it's a rough rally that brings McRae's title hopes to life, and with the roughest of them all coming next, he must be feeling good. And just look at what those 2 podium places have done for Ford's manufacturers' battle. Welcome to the African wilderness. Welcome to safari country. What you're about to see is one of motorsport's last great adventures. Competition largely takes place on open roads, meaning anything can wander into the path of the oncoming cars. To give the drivers warning of any hazards, they each have their own spotter helicopter. To warn the people that they're coming, the cars are fitted with extra super bright headlights. A sudden downpour can turn water splashes into lakes, so snorkels are fitted to the air intakes to stop the engines drowning. You can see why this rally's so demanding. This is a typical African stage. Dusty, rough and rutted, but still speeds reach 200 kilometers an hour. Round 8 of the WRC is the championship's only visit to Africa, and it's run entirely in the Great Rift Valley. The stages are monsters. The longest is over 100 kilometers, so you have to be pretty fit to survive. First in the title race and first onto the stage, this is Marcus Gronholm. He was also first to retire.
FX, 40 more. The engine stopped.
Suddenly the engine stopped. We don't know what the problem. Probably camshaft. Just stop.
Petter Solberg's frustrating year continued in Kenya. While teammate Tommy Mäkinen went into an early lead, Solberg suffered problems from the start.
I feel we should lift the bonnet and check the clutch rod, but I'm waiting for confirmation from Pierre.
Just keep going a little bit more then. Is it here, is it? Okay, we do that.
Now it's not much more to say. It's incredible, I can't believe it. Clutch broke from the start, 100 meters after start. Can't believe it.
Back at service, a whole new gearbox was awaiting Solberg, and amazingly the mechanics changed it in just 11 minutes. But it was in vain. Petter retired again. Thomas Radstrom made the most dramatic entrance into service. He knocked his wheel off and found yet another use for his co-driver, Denis Girardet. The Swede would go on to finish the rally in third place, a great safari debut for Citroën. Colin McRae was on a charge and using some unconventional methods to gain extra speed. With Gronholm out, McRae realised a win here would make him a real threat to the Finn. So he was determined. Nothing was going to stand in the way of him and a maximum 10 points.
70. Donkey in the middle of the road round the corner.
6 right, 200.
Carlos Sainz's problems needed immediate attention. He had a puncture and had to stop the car to fix it.
Flat right 40, flat right 40.
Problems with Richard Burns' car were forcing him to take it easy. Tommy Mäkinen had started the stage just a few minutes after Burns, and it wasn't long before he caught the Englishman. Knowing Mäkinen was behind him, Burns moved over so he wouldn't slow the Finn down. But Mäkinen was to have more to worry about than being caught in Burns' dust trail. Just look at that wheel. It was now Mäkinen's turn to be caught.
The message from Subaru management is when you are within 200 metres, Tommy will pull over and let you pass.
But in Tommy's car, there's radio silence.
Does he know we're right behind him? Yeah, we've told him. We're telling him again.
Into 6 left, 70.
We have to pull over.
Steady now. Yeah, fast hold.
Very good, Tommy.
We passed Tommy, but we were unfortunately stuck in his dust for a long time. And then when we did manage to get right on his tail, he wouldn't move over either, so it wasn't very sporting of him.
Colin, bring it in, Colin.
I'm very sorry. We had no information at all. I was angry when you passed. I said, ask what the hell you do, why you didn't inform. We had no information at all that you are behind. I'm very sorry that. And it was also very dangerous place. Of course I could pull out straight away. It was not my target to try to keep you behind. Sorry that.
Okay, there's no information then.
It was really, we have something wrong with our radio. I'm sorry, very sorry about that. Okay.
Stress too for Richard Burns. On his way into service, his car had become lodged in soft dirt that lined the road. Burns had to be in service at a certain time or he'd be out of the rally, and the clock was ticking. He and Robert Reid tried everything to get the car moving again, but the frustration when nothing works is painfully clear to see. The car was going nowhere. No points for the world champion, and it was a huge blow to his championship chances. That left Peugeot's chance to their gravel expert Harry Rovanperä, and he wouldn't disappoint. He was on his way to second place. Mäkinen's lead in this rally was long gone, but there were still points to push for. After so much hard work, suspension failure finally forced the Finn's retirement. His 6th from 8 rallies.
Does this retirement means the end of your championship, Tommy?
Yeah, it looked very bad. It looked very bad. It was not a good day for us.
Colin McRae would have plenty to smile about at the end of the rally. He survived and was fastest, and now Marcus Gronholm's championship lead was within reach.
Okay.
Spot on, boys, well done.
8 hours of driving over that tortuous terrain brings victory to Colin McRae, and it also means he breaks the record for the most WRC wins.
Colin, how does it feel to be the most successful World Rally driver ever?
Great. I mean, the important thing is the win here, but to have 25 wins is something, you know, a bit special. It's quite a nice record to have.
Probably more important in McRae's mind right now is the 7 points that stand between him and Gronholm in the title fight, and Ford is looking to threaten Peugeot in the manufacturer's race. So he's now the most successful driver of all time. It's time to find out what makes Colin McRae so good.
I was always interested in motorsport, so you know I was kind of halfway there already. Obviously, with my father being involved, I knew an awful lot about the sport before I actually got involved in it myself, so which helped a great deal. As soon as I sat behind the wheel, I felt really comfortable with it. I mean, I never had to think about what I was going to do. I just, you know, go as quickly as possible for me to be, and it all just seemed to happen. So it was a very natural talent.
McRae's flamboyant style makes him one of the most exciting drivers to watch and one of the fans' favourites.
Did you like that, wee man? How are you on those jumps?
Everybody approaches it in a different way. I would always sort of go over the limit and then you can come back. And I think doing that, you find the limit a lot quicker. You know, if you start to build up to it very, very slowly, you might never get to it, you never have the confidence. So that's just the way I am. I always really sort of attack things to the maximum and then sort it out afterwards.
McRae's success has brought him a millionaire lifestyle and superstar status.
It's a great sport, it's very exciting, and at the end of the day, I'm a true competitor. I would rather compete, and I need that, you know, and I still need it, and I'm sure I will in years to come. Just the challenge and the sort of satisfaction of being quicker than someone else.
Finland is the spiritual home of rallying. The country's produced more world champions than any other, and it's the nation's national sport. Once called the Rally of 1,000 Lakes, the route weaves its way through the myriad of deep blue lakes that dot the Finnish countryside. The ancient glaciers that made those lakes also shaped the rally roads, leaving behind undulations that, when taken at almost 200 kilometres an hour, turn the stage into a roller coaster of spectacular jumps. It's the dozens of jumps that draw the fans away from the parties in the rally's hometown of Jyväskylä and onto the stages, rising at dawn, queuing for hours just to get a glimpse of their heroes. You're about to see why this rally's so spectacular. Marcus Gronholm is supreme on his home event. This is such a difficult rally to drive, but Gronholm makes it look so easy. Not everything was going his way, though. Being first on the road meant he was road sweeping again. He wasn't the fastest. The fastest car was Richard Burns' 206. Burns knew he needed a win soon if he was to keep the number one on his door, and he planned to take advantage of Gronholm's problems in front. He was driving at 100%. But it was when he launched himself into this jump that it all went wrong.
I took a jump quickly in the last stage, and it was like 5k into 35k stage. And when we landed, it landed very hard on the nose of the car, and it's we lost boost, lost the intercooler, or crashed an intercooler pipe or something, and we had no power to the end of the stage.
Burns also lost the lead, which he handed over to his other teammate, Harry Rovanperä. Peugeot had promised no team orders, and Harry would have loved to win in front of his home crowd. But it wasn't to be. A puncture left Rovanperä driving on his rim. Check out the damage to the car. There was no way he could continue, and Gronholm took the lead. Tommy Mäkinen wanted to go flat out, but his car wouldn't let him. His engine felt soft, and he was off the pace. But after his string of retirements, it was a relief to finally finish a rally, and he got a point for his efforts. UR Kankkunen is so big in Finland that he lives on UR Kankkunen Drive. But even the greatest drivers fall foul of these slippery surfaces. Thomas Radström's from neighbouring Sweden, but his local knowledge wouldn't help him keep his Citroen on the road either. Colin McRae was Gronholm's biggest threat in the title race, but not in this rally. He simply couldn't keep up with the Peugeots. But he was the best of the rest and lying in third, setting himself up nicely to take 4 valuable points. But when the focus started filling with smoke, neither McRae nor Griss knew why. Despite all the efforts of the Ford duo and the Finnish fire service, the flames took hold.
Send a car. This car is fully on fire.
So Gronholm was on his way to another win and McRae on his way home with nothing. Carlos Sainz was now looking to grab that final podium place, but he'd have to catch Petter Solberg first. The Norwegian was pushing so hard, he claimed he couldn't go any faster.
6 left minus, 80. 6 left minus, tightens minus the crest.
Carlos was just 1 second behind him, but to the relief of Solberg, he held the Spaniard off.
I'm very happy, very happy. This is like a victory for me.
For Marcus Gronholm, it was a true victory. Once again, he'd been ready to pounce when others had problems, and once again, he'd be rewarded with 10 points. So confirmation of the result. Marcus takes a comfortable win over Richard Burns and Petter Solberg. With just 5 rallies to go, McRae, Sainz, Burns and Solberg are going to have to work hard to catch him. In the Manufacturers' Championship, another Peugeot 1-2 keeps them in the lead. Trier is the oldest city in Germany, but the home of the newest addition to rallying's top level, WRC Rally Deutschland. It's a thrilling spectacle for the fans. Buses take them to the best spots where they can watch the drama unfold before their very eyes. And when the excitement's over, there's plenty of ways to relax too. Just like any other rally, there are 3 days of competition, but every day is unique. It's like tackling 3 different rallies. Tommy Mäkinen was probably wishing he could have stayed at home. On the first stage, his handbrake snapped off. With lots of hairpins ahead, that was very bad news. Colin McRae didn't have a great start either. With his title hopes fading, he didn't need to overshoot this junction. Colin wasn't happy. It was clear that his relationship with co-driver Nicky Griss was getting a little strained.
Colin, you picked up a 10-second penalty. What happened there?
Maybe you should ask the Welsh wizard.
But McRae would at least finish the rally in the points, unlike teammate Carlos Sainz. He'd come home 8th, not a good result for his title aspirations. Mitsubishi have had a poor season, and it was to continue here.
I'm not sure. There's lots of smoke going out the back, lots of smoke going out the back, and a bit out the bonnet. What, do you want me to stop and kind of disconnect? Please continue.
Peugeot's asphalt expert Gilles Panizzi had a shoulder injury, so wouldn't appear here. Richard Burns emerging as the team star of this rally, but he wasn't leading. Sebastian Loeb was stringing together a stunning streak of stage wins. This rally is the closest that Loeb gets to a home event. His house is just over the border in France. That meant he was getting a lot of attention, and he was loving every minute of it.
We have 27 seconds of Richard Burns, so it's very good, but tomorrow it's completely different roads. It can be raining, it should be raining, so it will be very difficult to stay on the road.
before the rally starts, the weather crews were out on the stage checking the conditions and feeding the teams the information they need to make the right tyre choice. Grip was going to be a problem for Philippe Galski in the second Citroën. That massive hit left the Frenchman stranded. His car was going nowhere. When local hero Armin Schwartz launched his Hyundai onto the wet stages, he too found the going difficult. This was a nasty collision which left Armin with broken ribs. The rally's next victim was Petter Solberg. The collision with a rock was enough to knock his wheel off. He retired at the end of the stage. With almost half a minute between himself and the Peugeot, Sébastien Loeb looked set for victory. He didn't just lose time with that spin, he bent the steering too. Once again safely in third place, Marcus Gronholm was poised to pounce.
Marcus, your charge is continuing. I don't know what the times are here. I only have Sebastian. 5:11. What is going on? What's going on? I don't understand.
But in an even better position was Richard Burns. He was now just 6 seconds off Loeb and relishing the chance at getting his first Peugeot win. Early on day 3, the German fans were to see another of their heroes go out in a quite spectacular incident. This is Armin Kramer in a Ford Focus. And that is one big fire. Kramer and his co-driver escaped without a scratch, but the car didn't get off lightly. Richard Burns was flying on the final day, hoping that the pressure he was putting on Loeb might make him crack. But as the Frenchman showed in Monte Carlo, he's not the kind of driver who gives in to pressure. An excellent drive brought him his first WRC victory, but his team surely know it won't be his last. 14 seconds the margin between Burns and the rally winner Loeb. Gronholm finished his third.
Yeah, I'm very pleased, and to win here, it's the best thing could happen to me because it's a race which is only at 200 kilometers from my house, and I have a lot of fans and friends here, so I'm very, very happy to win.
We're getting better and better and stronger, more confident the whole time with the car. There's tough competition in this championship, and we're getting closer and closer, no doubt about that.
So 6 more points for the reigning world champion, keeps his title defence alive. And Peugeot take another step closer to the manufacturer's title. But for the time being, the focus is on Citroën and a rising rally star. Being the World Rally Champion is a hectic life. Always in demand for interviews and photo opportunities means that Richard Burns is nearly as busy off the rally as he is on it. And that's why it's important for him to have a place where he can get away from it all.
When I spend the time here in Andorra, I am far away from the rallying world. The main attractions for me are that it's completely cut off. It's very quiet. We're high up here in the Pyrenees. Nobody can really get hold of you if you don't want them to. And there's obviously the beauty of mountains. You know, I just have to look out the window of the flat every morning, and it's all there. It's so fresh and clean. It's really nice just to come here, turn the music on, close your eyes, or sit there and look at the mountains. Just relaxing. I have a very good brain for turning off.
Let's go.
This is one of the many reasons why I choose to live in Andorra. As you can see, it's beautiful.
But there's no getting away from that man, Marcus Gronholm.
It's fair to say we could be competitive, but it is also fair to say that Marcus is the man at the moment, and he's the one we have to beat. And to win the championship, we're going to have to do that. I think the fact that he is so fast and consistent means that you do actually have to crack him. It's not going to be a case of waiting to see if he makes a mistake, because it isn't going to happen. We both know really it is just a straight fight. So of course there's rivalry, but it's not one driven by anything other than competition.
The WRC Rally d'Italia, better known as the Rally San Remo, is a classic. For as long as anyone can remember, these twisting mountain passes have been the arena for a fast and furious struggle against the elements and the clock. Over 3 days, there are 18 relentless sprints through hairpins, fast straights and twisting passes, all on a slippery surface that only the bravest will survive. There's no doubt that Gilles Panizzi's brave. He was back for San Remo even though his shoulder wasn't 100%. This is a very physical rally, and Panizzi knew he'd be in for some pain.
If it's not okay, I drive with the left hand.
With both hands on the wheel, off he went. The shoulder hardly seemed to be bothering him. It was business as usual on this asphalt event. Panizzi was in the lead.
Droite 95. Pour gauche à fond. Sur droite à fond. 50 mètres droite 100 plus.
Armin Schwartz was another driver who wasn't fully fit. The broken ribs he'd suffered in a crash in the German rally meant he was in pain. But he only had to endure 11 kilometres of this event. San Remo is one of the few rallies that Carlos Sainz and Luis Moya have never won, and they wouldn't do it in 2002 either, thanks to a hydraulic oil leak. Colin McRae was off the pace too. On the first day he was out of the top 10, and the Scot would spend the next 2 days fighting his way up the leaderboard.
Into 6 left tightens line and 2 right plus tightens maybe.
Leaving Marco Martin to lead Ford's attack. But there was no way he was going to threaten the Peugeots. Citroen's Philippe Bogalski was keeping up with his French rivals. He was second. The sheer force of that smash left the French driver stunned. Two minutes later, Panizzi reached the crash site, only to find Bogalski's car blocking the road. Precious seconds were ticking away, jeopardising the lead he'd worked so hard for. Brother Hervé tried his best to clear the way. Back at service, there was a chance for Panizzi to put the pressures of the day behind him and get some R&R.
I really appreciate to work with him these 15 days, because he has been crazy how he works. You can't imagine how he is working and focus to be here and to be the best he can do.
While Panizzi rested at service, the fans were out in force. Thousands of them camp out to make sure they'll get a great view. Life under canvas might be tough, but this is Italy, and they do it in style. A little food, a little wine, and some firelight. And there was still plenty in store for them to enjoy. With Bogalski gone, Marcus Gronholm smoothly manoeuvred his way into second place. But it was a little bit more uncomfortable for Richard Burns. Petter Solberg was on a charge, and after Burns' third place. Solberg saw his chance. He caught and passed the Englishman, but by the narrowest of margins. Good news for Petter, bad news for Tommy. He'd retire yet again. Doing all he could to cling on to the title, Richard Burns started the final day determined to take third place back. But Solberg was just as dogged. He wanted that place on the podium himself. With each stage, Burns shaved more and more time off Solberg's lead. But it wasn't enough, much to the delight of the Norwegian.
Spot on.
But there was no doubt as to who was the hero of this rally. The injured Panizzi had led from beginning to end. A stunning performance.
Bravo, Petit.
After 3 days and 18 stages, Panizzi finished the rally with a 20-second lead over Marcus Gronholm. And once again, it was all smiles in the Peugeot camp. In the championship, Gronholm opens out his lead, and in theory he could win the title at the next rally. And Peugeot could take the manufacturer's title there too. New Zealand boasts some of the most spectacular scenery in the world. Rolling hills, rugged coastlines and primeval forests. It's an ideal setting for one of the most stunning events in the championship. This is WRC Rally New Zealand, a gravel test that's so good it's nearly everyone's favourite event. Radiating from Auckland, New Zealand's largest city, stages like Te Papatapu, Waipu Gorge and Toka Toka provide some of the most picturesque settings for a world rally. Marcus Gronholm arrived at the start of the rally with everything to go for. One more win and he could be calling himself world champion in 3 days' time. But not if Richard Burns could help it. Feeling his world crown slipping, the British driver flew through the stages, setting a string of fastest times and opening up a comfortable lead. There was still hope for Colin McRae, but once again the Focus couldn't keep up with the Peugeots. Tensions between McRae and Grist weren't helped by a misheard pace note.
6 right and 6 left, opens in the cage, right front, don't forget. 3, 2.
That was it for McRae. His rally and his championship chance is over. The side of McRae's stricken car distracted Armin Schwartz, who so nearly went the same way.
It was a very slow corner. It wasn't, you know, we weren't as if we were right on the edge and trying too hard. We just got caught out in the braking and slid a bit straight on over the edge. It certainly wasn't the plan. You know, the plan was to have 3 good events and, you know, just have a good run and you know, leaving a good foot. So it's not started off very well at the moment.
At the end of the rally, McRae and Grist announced they'd split. Petter Solberg was chasing the 3 Peugeots up front, but his chances of catching them were slim. Listen to the sound he makes when he gets a little too close to a sheer drop.
Opens 30. Opens 5. Half long. Over crest.
Despite that minor mishap, he was comfortable in 4th. At last, there was good news for Mitsubishi. Jani Passanen set a fastest stage time. It's been a long wait for the Japanese team, and there was a good feeling back at the service park.
It's his first time here and first fastest time for our WRC car, and yeah, we're all delighted.
Here he comes, Gary.
Passanen might have been a candidate for man of the rally if he'd finished it. But as we've seen so often this season, it was all to end in a spectacular roll. Hanging upside down, there was no way Passanen was driving away from this one. Marco Martin's another star of the WRC's future. Although he's still looking for his first rally win, it's a matter of when and not if it'll come. But this was a crucial retirement because it left Peugeot as manufacturers' champions. Harry Rovanperä had spent most of his rally trying to fend off Marcus Gronholm, but it was in vain. His teammate was on a charge and snatched second place. Next in his sights was the leader, Richard Burns. Petter Solberg had driven a great rally. After 25 of the 26 stages, he was still the best of the rest. But bad luck was to strike Petter yet again, his engine failing on the penultimate stage. Richard Burns has never won in his Peugeot, but with a 45-second lead over Marcus Gronholm, things were looking good.
Just touched the bank on the outside of the corner and the car went up on 2 wheels, dug in and ended up there. I'm very, very off about not winning the rally. That was an important thing, and we had a nice lead.
The race for the title was over. The WRC had a new world champion.
Yes! Hey!
So Marcus Gronholm takes the title with another dominant drive. He was nearly 4 minutes faster than Robin Ferrer.
Marcus, congratulations, rally winner and double world champion.
Yes, thank you. Good feeling. No.
Does this one feel better than the first world championship?
No. The first one was better, but of course this is a good one, but always the first was something special.
Gronholm may have taken the title, but there was still plenty to fight for as the battle for the runners-up spot was hotting up. And there's the confirmation that Peugeot can't be caught. Marcus Gronholm is thrilling to watch, but on the inside of that car there's a very cool character who's had his eye on the title all year.
We were planning with Timo before the season that we are going to take points in so many rallies as possible. If I can't win, I stay there to take the points. And okay, I was quite happy after a month, yeah. And then just after we won in Sweden, so that was good start for the year. I don't know why it has been so. I don't want to use easy, but it looks easy. But next year maybe it's a different story, and I hope it will be a good fight again. It's better to win after a big fight. After last year I was hungry because we had so many problems and it was a bad year for me. So I was really motivated for year 2002. Now I have to find the same for next year, so I hope I will find it.
One of the biggest sporting events of the year in Western Australia is WRC Rally Australia, and it's a fan's favourite. Held in the height of the spring, it's the penultimate round in the calendar. Most of the action takes place in the forests south and east of the rally's base in Perth. Narrow roads with a fast coating of marble-like gravel make it one of the fastest and most treacherous events. The best Burns could hope for now was the runner-up spot. But McRae was after it too. He'd brought in Derek Ringer, the man who partnered him to his 1995 World Championship. Also in the fight were Carlos Sainz and Petter Solberg. Burns was the first of the contenders to mount his attack, but he wasn't setting any records. Sitting next to Colin McRae on a charge, doing almost 200 kilometres an hour on some of the slipperiest gravel in the world is a pretty scary thing. But co-driver Ringer was unfazed. But working together for the first time in 7 years wouldn't be without its problems. McRae wouldn't want more mistakes like this. No errors from Carlos Sainz. He was in the thick of the battle. The early pace setter was Petter Solberg, but after just 2 stages it was business as usual. The new world champion had lost none of his hunger, and once Marcus Gronholm had found his rhythm, he took the lead. Also going well was Freddie Loix. He set a fastest stage time, leaving Hyundai looking good to finish the season above their closest rivals, Skoda and Mitsubishi. But Burns was about to hit trouble.
Okay, I know where we are, Robert. We have clutch slip, big clutch slip. I'm going just driving slowly with the power turned off. It's 120. I can't do anything. The clutch is on the floor. Move away.
Last year, Francois Delacour had one of the biggest offs of his career when he hit the trees that stand so close to the roads here. But this one was even bigger. Delacour's co-driver was airlifted to hospital with broken bones. The car was in pieces, and it's plain to see Delacour didn't know what had hit him. Harry Rovanperä was having a trouble-free drive. He was stalking his way up the leaderboard and snatched 3rd place from Carlos Sainz. And then he took second for Petter Solberg. Suspension problems giving him some heart-stopping moments. This Colin McRae jump is the kind of action the crowds love to see. But it wasn't good for the Scot. He landed so hard he damaged the radiator of his car. It will bring an end to his Australian excursion.
150. Just stop. Okay. Something broken.
When a lot of cars have gone through these stages, the roads get very rutted. That means that even in first gear there can be trouble, as Carlos Sainz found out. Petter Solberg's fans are devoted to him, and this time their trip was rewarded. Another podium place for their hero. But above him, two Peugeots, those of Harry Rovanperä and the rally winner, Marcus Gronholm.
Nopea seitsemän. Ja oikein eriylinykyn soppuun.
So that's 5 rally victories for Marcus Gronholm this season. Even though he has the title, he's still looking unbeatable. But look how close the battle is now for second place. It's pretty close at the bottom of the manufacturers' race too, after Skoda earned themselves another point. The Rally of Great Britain is where the World Rally Championship reaches its nail-biting climax. Just like Monte Carlo, it's one of the oldest and most prestigious events of the year, a must-win for the sport's greatest drivers. The battle takes place in some of the greatest forest stages the world has to offer, and the action is invariably as dramatic as the scenery. As Marcus Gronholm sat on the start line, he knew he could be making history. The record number of rally wins in a season is 6, and Marcus was on to match it. But the muddy surface did its best to catch the Finn out. Inside the car, the atmosphere was relaxed. And that joke distracted the new champion at just the wrong moment.
We have rolled on the stage and we have to retire.
You can see it, we went off, but it was a little bit funny because I had a hydraulic problem and I was not 100% concentrated. I was shifting with a manual gear shifting and the diffs were not working correctly. That was a part of the reason, but okay, anyway, I could have slowed down a bit.
With the number 1 on his door for the last time, Richard Burns wanted to end his season on a high, but an early off broke his turbo pipe and he was out of the running. In the end, it didn't matter. There was no way his car was coming out of these trees.
No, I'm not going anywhere. Right, we need to get out.
Colin McRae knows these stages better than anyone, but this wasn't to be his year for victory either. Even with the help of many of his fans, it took him a long time to get out of this ditch. Even so, he treated his crowd to the kind of action that makes them love him. His teammate Carlos Sainz would finish the rally ahead of McRae in 3rd place. But the fight for the lead was a thrilling battle between 2 young guns, Petter Solberg and Marco Martin. Gronholm's retirement handed the lead to Martin, but he was only 3 seconds ahead of Solberg, who escaped this scare. Perhaps it was a sign that his luck was finally improving. Martin was pushing hard to keep Solberg at bay, but Petter Subaru was just that little bit faster. He was shaving fractions of a second off Martin's lead, and he caught him. Safely over the line, the celebrations begin.
Let's hope now. I never know, I was so... That's not going to be beaten.
At last, the Norwegian had his win. So the last rally of the year sees a new winner. Petter Solberg wins from Martin, Sainz, Mäkinen and McRae.
In Norway now, I know it's completely chaos. You know, all the people is hanging, you know, up in the trees. My brother is on the fields with my Subaru and taking donuts with the Norwegian flag out. You know.
And that win also means that Solberg ends the season as runner-up to Gronholm. And in the manufacturers' battle, Peugeot end with a huge gap to closest rivals Ford and Subaru. So the 2002 World Rally Championship comes to an end with the biggest celebration of the year, a new world champion and the prospect of an even more thrilling year in store in 2003.